information. That was really big back in the day. Made all our websites, quite animated, and it was really cool stuff until Apple decided they weren't going to support Flash. And then you sort of got e-commerce, where we introduced encryption. So that's where we could pay. We can start paying for things now with our credit cards. E-commerce kind of sort of, it's either 1.5 or sort of into Web 2.0, and then obviously then your 2.0 is your social media, and also don't forget during this period the big sort of plus or the big increase in speeds, like our bandwidth increased a lot. So that's where we could get YouTube, starting to actually be worthwhile. We could actually be useful. And like Eugene said, we've started to get all our social media with the introduction of MySpace and Facebook and Twitter and all those other things. So that's the only things I would add to those things.
Okay, social media, great. All right, so Eugene, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. So I was trying to introduce Web3. Now we're talking about Web 3.0. We're talking about a new evolution of the web, and this has to do, let me take it just as a read, write, and execute form. Don't worry, I will explain that in a bit. Now, this Web 3.0 is trying to see how we can actually, we as the users, we can be part of the system. So it's not just like we are just controlling just to put in your input, but rather we are being part of it, just like we are contributors to the development of the web. Now, let me calm down a bit to make a little comparisons and contrast between the Web 2 and Web 3. Now, we'll talk about Web 2.0. A lot of us are familiar with the fact that, for example, banking system today, when you have an account with the bank has got all your details, and the bank actually controls whatever you do. Your actions are restricted to what you can access at a particular time. At times when it comes to this limit of a thing that to make some transaction and you can't access some kind of resource. Now, this Web 2.0 has been in a form of a centralized web that an authority actually have to govern your use of the web. Now, take for example now Facebook as well. You can imagine that on Facebook there are certain things that you can do and certain things that you cannot do. There are some kind of things you can post and some kind of content that you cannot post, that you are not even allowed. For example, if you are a digital marketer, you want to make some kind of ads, to some age group even, or to some certain audience, there are kind of things that you can post or not. Now, some of these things, now there are some forms of restrictions that we get from Web 2. Now, so, but in Web 3 is a decentralized web version. That is, that those restrictions, Web3 try to take away those restrictions from what we have in Web 2 today. Now, you as a user, you actually control what you have or what your data that is inside there. Now, somebody will try to ask me that, okay, doesn't mean that we are actually developing this Web3 ourselves from where we are? Not really. The data is actually stored in some distributed servers, unlike a central database governed by a single authority. Now, in this case, it's actually distributed in different places. You as a user, even depending on network you are trying to connect with, you can also offer to be one of those persons who also store data. That is one of the data servers or centers. Now, coming up for it, we can say that Web3 being decentralized, it means that in Web3, we also, data privacy, it's open. That is to say that your privacy is more concerned. There's no restriction as such to what you can do with Web 2. I guess everyone is following with Web 3 rather. Now on this Web 3, for example, now we'll talk about cryptocurrency in Web 3. You can decide to want to send up money or some coins to somebody anywhere. Now you make the transactions and the rest. No other authority is going to restrict you what you can do. Now even where the data are being stored, they don't have access to whatever is being there. You control your data. You can send up at any time to whomever you are being given. You're getting me now? So in Web3, being decentralized and permissionless, to say, it means that you as a user, you can actually do things without anybody restricting you from what you can do. And also, like we said, data is distributed across several servers, such that a single data can be a single unit of information or data from you can be stored in more than 10 or hundreds of computers all over the world, such that accessing it from somebody it's not easy because everything is locked up. Nobody has access to whatever you have because you only have the key to access them. Okay, so that's the bits. Okay.
So Eugene, when you talk about so a couple of things I want to respond to, but I'll just take them bit by bit first.
Okay.
Now you talk about you said a person can choose to post these data, to store these data, to be a data server. I mean, how does that happen? So I mean, if I want to be part of the network that posts that stores data in this, should I say, Web3 internet, how do I do that? How do I become part of it?
Okay, now when we talk about that aspect, normally we know things is a connected system in the internet. You know that when you want to opt into this, something like that, you should always be aware as well that you are going to be part of some persons who will have connectivity, internet connectivity 24/7, no interruption. You're getting it now. So actually, this has to do with some kind of tech companies or individuals who can also provide this reliable service. Now, if you want to be anyone of such, then you should be rest assured that you can provide power and high-speed internet connectivity at any point of time. So when you make all of this, this world of the internet and computer is just a matter of connection, 1, 2, 3 connections, and everything is done. So if you are part of a blockchain network, for example, or any of these decentralized apps, and a team or rather the company working on it, you can actually make up your connections and get it. But the bottom line of it is that when we talk about you being a host or a data server or center to this Web3 storage stuff, we're talking about if you want to be involved, you have to ensure that you have a speedy internet connection and you have reliable power. That means your systems cannot be shut down at all.
Okay, I think I understand what you have just said, but IQ for our pioneers audience, which is basically everyone here, I guess. Is there how do we bring this back to our Pi terminologies or something? Is he talking about a node, IQ?
He is talking about nodes. Yeah, I mean that's decentralization. The whole point of this, we're trying to eliminate single points of failure. It's always been an issue that infrastructure in the data centers are always trying to eliminate. There's lots of different ways that they can, through clustering and all this type of thing, that they try to eliminate these points of failure. But under these decentralized systems, when you operate nodes and decentralized infrastructure. Like an example is there's a company called Threefold, right? They're doing blockchain decentralized infrastructure. Everything's hosted on multiple servers, right? And essentially what you're getting here is, instead of sort of a bit more serialized searching of data and providing of data, now you're operating in parallel, right? So the data's split and shared across nodes, and this enables parallel processing of everything. Now, with regards to Pi, what Pi is actually doing is, when you've got operating your nodes, that's where they're providing consensus, right? So they're not actually providing any data storage or any infrastructure and that type of thing. They're providing the infrastructure to provide consensus across the nodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's two different aspects there.
Okay, so let's get I see some requests. Let's go around the room now and get some contributions from the audience or some questions. Yeah, so if you want to say something on this, just send a request to speak so that I see Pi Network NFT. Let accept Pi Network NFT. Pi Network NFT, you can now speak. Speak. I see a Chinese name. I cannot speak it, but I am just going to accept and hopes that you speak in English. Okay, Dragon Picture, I just accepted your request to speak. You can unmute your mic now and speak. Okay, I don't think Dragon Picture has some flames to spit out right now. So let's go on. Okay, now, Eugene, you talked about data control. Having more control of your data and all of those things. But I would like us to understand what that means in a practical sense. Like, okay, um, how are we having more control of our data in a practical sense in doing it? Like I am engaging with the web, I'm in a Web3, platform or network or something, and maybe my data is supposed to be engaged for something. How am I going to? Is it that I'm going to have requests for my permission to be given regarding my data being used or something? In a practical sense, what does that mean? Having more control of my data, Web3.
Okay. When we talk about permissionless, so let me use that language, that your data, you being in control of your data, we're talking about the fact that in the world of Web3, data is actually being stored in more of an encrypted manner. Now, in this encryption, nobody can actually access your data without you yourself giving the accurate permission key, that is the keys to access that data. So even where they are stored, no governments, no individual, no corporate body can actually access your data without those keys being given out by you. So it's just more like your regular Facebook accounts or like your WhatsApp or wherever your banking stuffs, where we make use of usernames and passwords. Now, if you don't give in your login credentials, actually, unless a hacker attempts it, nobody can actually access your accounts. So it's similar in that nature. In this manner now, the data is actually more encrypted. Now, it is done with a lot of computing technology and very much encrypted, such that even those data stores and the rest, they have no manner of accessing this data. Now, you are the one who is in full control. You channel your data wherever it seems like. Take, for example, we'll come to blockchain. come to Pi, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest. For example, now, when you want to send coins to somebody somewhere, all of it now, you do everything. Even though the blockchain company or tech you're working with may have a lot of the transactions and the rest, they still cannot access them. That's number one. Then, secondly, also, sorry, excuse me. Now, secondly, also, apart from the fact that they cannot access them, when you make transactions and the rest, nobody is able to spy on whatever you do. Nobody's going to give you any form of restriction to what you are sending out from it. So everything is actually being controlled by you in total. You do everything, you control everything. Nobody's spying from anywhere. No hackers anywhere that are coming to try to steal your data, because everything is encrypted. It's more like a P2P encryption.
Okay, so why at how am I requested for my data then? I would like to.
Excuse me?
You said so nobody, not even government or anybody can get access to my data without my permission. So how will I get a request for my permission?
We're talking about requests and permission. Well, if there need be, then there could always be any formal way of contacting you based on the technology you're working with.
Oh, okay, but do they have to know each person? Do they have to know me in person before they they can request for my data?
Yeah, no, not really.
Yeah, IQ, you got any points on this here? Because I'm thinking that we are doing Pi KYC, and we are giving our data over to Pi Network. Yeah, and so how does this relate? How does this tie in here?
Yeah, I think this is probably a question that's hard to answer because we probably haven't seen what the mechanism is at the moment. One thing that I'm aware of is I think this comes into play in November, which is the new banking messaging standards, which is ISO 2022. 20022. So that's where all the standards are going to come into play for the banking messaging. So it's quite possible under those standards that there will be an allocation there for messages for giving access to our data. Now, I'm not really sure about that, but that's just something I'm aware of.
Oh, okay. Okay, because
I really don't think we've seen the mechanism yet for it. Something that I might add, maybe this is a bit relevant too, is like say I can use that picture in my content, right? So when a person reads the article, they'll come across the picture, but the picture will be blurred out. Right? Now, if I want to look at that picture to see the content, I will click on that, and then that'll trigger a microtransaction that I'll approve, right? And so the beauty of this is the original content creator, the photographer, he will now receive a payment, right? And that's in perpetuality, so he'll forever of that picture, anytime it's used, he'll get a payment of that. So that's a way in that, he can share his data and then get remuneration for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a mechanism too, where you can give permission for your data.
Okay. Does this also count? When we go on the Pi browser and we want to connect to maybe workforce pool or something, or any other application, and then it asks us for permission. Is it whether to connect our wallets or something? Does that also is that part of this?
Yeah, I mean, like it's and yourself, anytime you get on say Pancake Swap or any of the swaps or anything like that, they ask you to connect your wallet, right? Well, that's actually a transaction, Now, it doesn't cost any money, but, your wallet will pop up and you actually have to authorize the connection. Right?
So the moment you authorize it, it means that you've given permission for your data?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But you'll probably find that, like I said, this is all very new, so we probably haven't seen all, because there'll be limitations that you can set, and like anytime it's kind of like smart contracts too, you can allocate, you can design a smart contract, and the whole point of that is it can't be changed, but it can be updated, so whatever you're putting on the blockchain, that physical thing can't be changed, but you might be able to change certain limitations on it, or maybe you say, okay, you can use this for 1 day or something like that.
Okay. So now, how do we access? How do we access Web3? So I guess that we are having this space in Web2, right? So if let's say I want to be in Web3, how do I access Web3?
Okay. When we're talking about accessing Web3, it's not really something that is really more of virtual or something thick. Now, we're talking about Web3, accessing Web3. I know a lot of us have actually delved into Web3. We started using Web3, though we may not have known. Now, in accessing Web3, you can actually access Web3 from any device at all. It could be your phone, it could be your tablet, it could be your computer, so long you have internet connectivity. Now, take for example, when you trade cryptocurrency, you have a crypto wallet in any of the apps, or similarly. Also, when you have any of these blockchain stores or some 3D apps and web apps, they probably have started using Web3. Now, there's a decent chance that you've already used all of these decentralized applications, even though you may not have actually known. Now, for example, a lot of us have these wallets on our Android and iOS phones, etc. Now, you see that when you use all of these blockchain, your Ethereum, your Bitcoin, and the rest, you're actually using Web3. So in basic terms, accessing Web3, you can do it with any device that is internet enabled, your smartphone, your computer, your tablet, as the case may be. It is simply with the use of any of these apps that is built on Web3.
Okay, so the platform itself is the gateway to Web3. That's what I'm getting from what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it depends on the platform. So, okay. So once I go on a platform, like let's say, give me any app.
Let's say Trust Wallet, for example.
Trust Wallet. Okay, so I'm engaging in the Web3 space because Trust Wallet is built on Web3, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting because I was going to ask that is Web3 already around? Like, are there any Web3 economies or projects out there that we can see? Because yeah, so I guess there are.
Yeah, certainly there are. Whenever you work with all of these blockchain technologies come with any of these cryptocurrency technologies, all of these, they're actually being built on Web3. So it's something that's already around us. It's just that people have not really got so much involved in it. It's just going to take a little more time. The earlier that everyone tries to appreciate the usefulness of this Web3, the quicker the evolution, or rather the revolution, is going to be. You get it?
So which class of people, set of people, categories of people are engaging in it, and which categories of them are left out?
Well, like we said, there's Web 3.0. It's basically for all of us. So everyone actually is expected to get into it. Now, like for the low-end users, majorly, you know that we will say, okay, how do I start where I don't even have any basic knowledge of computing at all? Well, as the tech companies, the earlier they quickly appreciate this and start building apps based on Web3, then you see that we are users, we the users ourselves, the low-end users, we still need to make use of these apps. Discover that we are all together making contributions to engaging in it ourselves. So when the tech companies or those who have brought themselves to make use of the web or to provide services using this Web3, or as they go into it, and we, the other set of users, we try to appreciate it and engaging in the use of these services or apps that are being brought, they discover that we are already trying to appreciate its use, and the quicker we do it, the earlier the revolution is going to come, the quicker the revolution is going to come.
Okay, I want to ask something and share something, but I want us to go around the room and see if anyone in the audience has any contribution to what we just talked about now, or any question. I see John, you are requesting to speak. John, you are accepted. You can click on your microphone and unmute and speak.
Hello.
Let's hear from you. Yeah, welcome,
Yes,
John.
good afternoon. I actually
Good
just
afternoon.
came
Yeah.
to the space now. I just wanted to give my own contribution to Pi Network for everybody out there, because I brought an idea to Pi Network, to the blog storm, and I need to the brainstorm rather, and I need everybody to be responsive to it. And I'll say it right now, is PiPlay is a platform, an app, and an ecosystem too, where hope I can continue.
I'm not. I don't know.
Like, I know it's not
Yeah,
among what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, you are deviating.
Yeah.
You are doing promo. You are using promotion to deviate from what we are talking
No, I'm
about.
not promoting it. Like, it's actually an idea that I would like everybody to look into. I just want to say this. You don't have to do it, guys. I just want to put it out there, let it be out there to everybody. I know it's not I know it's not among what you guys were talking about before I got into the space, but if I can continue, I can just say it and then you can continue.
Okay, just say.
It's PiPlay. It's an app, an ecosystem, and a platform where Pi Network can connect with Play Store, and it needs the voting system. It needs you guys to look into it. It needs you guys to agree with it. It needs the pioneers to agree with this. So yes, I just wanted to let you guys know that this idea actually exists in the brainstorm, and you can look into it and put your effort into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, John. Yeah. That was a very lucky promo you got.
Yeah. That is honestly, yeah.
Okay, so
I just took it. All right.
Okay.
For
they say if you want something, you ask for it. Yeah. Good luck. Anyways, move on. I can see you trying to speak. Move on. Let us just have you before we go on. Are you? Do you have a contribution on what we just talked about now, or a question? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes. Hello, Dragon Picture. You've gotten your flames. Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, I think you guys are not ready. Yusuf, let's have Yusuf. Please just keep the contribution or question regarding what we just talked about on Web3 before we move on.
You guys are talking about Web3.
Yeah, that's the topic. You can see it at the top of the screen.
Okay, yes, I'm just seeing it. Okay. my own contribution to Web3 for Pi Network is that, if possible, anyways, let me hear what everybody has to say before I bring it up. So I'll just mute for now.
Okay. Yusuf, you are unmuted. You can now click on your microphone and speak. Okay, I don't think Yusuf is speaking. Okay, so I'll just proceed with where I wanted to go. So we were just talking about Web3s around and how to access it, and Eugene mentioned the Trust Wallet as an example and all. So I mean, if all of these are Web3, hold on, I'll just share something on the dashboard there on the space screen so everyone can see. I mean, 1 second. Okay, so I just shared a tweet from Elon Musk on the dashboard there. It says, "Has anyone seen Web3? I can't find it." And I'll share another one. Now. It says, yeah, I just did. It says, "I'm not suggesting Web3 is real. Seems more like a marketing buzzword than reality right now." In marketing buzz. So, why do you think Elon Musk would discredit Web3 like this? Yeah, Eugene. Hello, Eugene, you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, the question again.
Has anyone seen Web3? I can't find it. And then says it seems more like a marketing buzzword than reality right now. But he's wondering what the future will be like in 10, 20, 30 years from now. It's kind of alluding that right now Web3 is not real, but in the next 10, 20 years, maybe it would be real. Why do you think he's saying something like that?
Oh, well, if I may say, Elon Musk is somebody who is more of this digital guy and into blockchain technology, Web3 actually is something that is very, very real, like we all know. Even though a lot of people still have a lot of concerns about it based on some challenges that may actually come, such as, for example, being permissionless. Okay, what about the downsides of it? So, well, in 10 to 20 years' time, I believe that Web3 will actually come up because looking at the evolution of different technology, especially the blockchain technology, looking at the importance of it, it's something that is actually going to tell more in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Now, these are some of the things that Elon Musk is trying to talk about now. Trying to say that it's not real. Well, to me, I really think that anyway, talking about Elon Musk about this particular tweet, I saying it's more than a marketing buzzword than reality right now, and just wondering what it would be. That 21 sounds futuristics. But I don't really think that Elon Musk. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello, we can hear you. We lost Eugene.
Do you want me to chime in?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I wanted to answer your question about Elon Musk.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yes, my own personal thought on why he would say something like that is that he is very Elon Musk mostly focuses on like physical technology, and Web3 is almost everything is all about the internet. And he's now questioning the fact that could this now be good for humanity? Could this work out for us? Could this be a good idea that would actually make a good impact on humanity and everything? And I would say yes, because his tweet even is from last year, and a lot has happened from that time period to now. Web3 have actually developed a lot from December 2021 till this time we are right now, especially the metaverse and crypto and even Pi itself. So Web3 is actually showing that it exists already, because Web3 is all about the metaverse and human beings and all of us having total control of our data, which Pi has given us that already. Pi Network has given us total control of our data, which is Web3. The metaverse too, NFTs, all these things, they are Web3s, and we can see them already. We can see them coming to life. We can see crypto coming to life. So we can see countries legalizing crypto. We can see Web3 itself. Is the fact that it doesn't have an app yet. Is the fact that it's not like Google yet. Is the fact that Facebook hasn't put the impact of Web3 on Facebook, on Instagram, and all these other popular apps. So probably when it's on these popular apps, then we'll see the fact that Web3 is already here. We are in Web3 already.
I'm picking one thing from what you said, which is the fact about humanity, or maybe this concern about how would it benefit humanity. So I'm like, okay, in my own understanding of things, okay, Eugene mentioned something about it earlier on, that it's just a certain. It's not everyone that is aware of it, that appreciates it currently. It's just like a certain less percentage of the people. So it's kind of not. Should I say it's not accessed by humanity yet? So the fact that it's not an open playground yet for the rest of humanity, that maybe that's why maybe you could say he doesn't see it yet, because it's not yet in the hands of the people. The people are not really.
Exactly.
The people are shut out of it.
Because if you ask me, Web3 is actually expensive to have, because for Web3, in order for you to experience Web3 itself, you have to experience the metaverse, you have to experience NFT, you have to experience crypto, which all these things now is getting more and more expensive for regular random people.
Meaning that all these things come with investment, which the regular
exactly.
everyday people cannot afford to invest.
Is giving us right now. So I feel like Web3 is here, and people just need to open their eye more into investing and not questioning the fact whether it's real or not. If someone actually put their mind, like Pi now, if someone actually just continued mining, despite the fact whether it was real or despite the fact whether it wasn't real, they would be in a better situation now than just questioning themselves and leaving their app by the side there without even opening it or mining. So people should actually put their mind in it and invest into it, not just question whether it's there or it's not there. So if people can invest in it, if people can, because we are the one actually giving all these things their power. If nobody is using it, they won't have all this kind of power. So if people are actually using it, if people are actually giving it that power, then it will have that power, because we can't just generate the power out of the blue, because nobody will use it then. But we have to use it for it to generate that power. So actually, it actually depends on us. We have to give it that power.
Thanks,
so
John.
my personal thought is that, that is just it.
Yeah, thanks, John. Another John wants to speak. Maybe he wants to counter you. I don't know. Another John. So, John 2, you can speak. He's connecting. So, yeah, John 2, you can unmute your mic and speak. You're not a speaker. John 2, you can unmute your mic, click on your mic and unmute it and speak. Okay. I don't think you're ready to speak. Now, okay. IQ, any points?
Yeah, I mean, Elon, he likes to mess around on Twitter, so there's no way he doesn't know what Web3 is.
Yeah, I got it. It may be that he's trolling, right?
Yeah, of course he's trolling. But I mean, look, Web 3.0, it's blockchain, decentralization, and open source technologies, right? Now, anyone that uses decentralized exchanges, automated market makers, smart DeFi, or even in the government's DAOs, if you're using any of that sort of stuff, you're using blockchain, So, and we know ourselves, just in our Pi network, there's 33 million of us using that, So, obviously, everyday people aren't into blockchain technologies yet, but like John said before, Web3's well and truly here already.
I really appreciate the light you threw on it. I'm sorry for the interruption the other time. So, like we were just saying, for Elon Musk, I would just want to let everyone that is listening right now to understand that, first of all, whenever something, let's bring it to something that is more physical. For example, now when you're trying to make some road constructions, you observe that sometimes it may take a lot while, and while the construction is in place, a lot of persons would not be comfortable because it's going to cause a lot of hazards on the way, trying to see how they can maneuver other routes and the rest. So these are some of the challenges that Elon Musk was just trying to foresee some of the challenges, and I was like, how does it look like? But I would want to bring our mind back to the evolution of cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, which are most of the highest crypto words these days. Discovered that a lot of people, when it all started, some were like, even to today, some are still doubting, is this thing real? Is this thing real? But today we can see that it is something that is very much real, and it's growing by the day. So every one of us, we just have to understand that despite that, like John said, it is growing, and every day by day it is coming up. So we all just have to channel our channel on Web3. When we all put up our minds in revolutionizing this Web3, engaging ourselves in these Web3 services, we discover that in even less than 10 years, the whole of it can just come up, and those who are still doubting now, they will be like, if I had known then, I would have joined the evolution. So let's not get back on it. Hello, Mr. Woody, are you there?
Oh yeah, sorry, my mic was mute and I did not know. Yeah, great. So I think remember at the beginning remember we said we let everyone know that Eugene is not a pioneer. So he's not into Pi Network. But who knows? Maybe by the end of this space, he will automatically become a pioneer when he learns so much about Pi Network. And now, so let's see, how does Pi? Let's bring in Pi now into the discussion. Very proper. Yeah. how is Pi built into all of these? Like IQ. So I want you to champion this here.
Oh,
So yeah, we've heard that Pi is a Web3 project, yeah, and we've just discussed Web3 in different angles. Talking about data, talking about connectivity, and so on and so forth. So how does Pi fit into this? How is Pi built into this actually?
It's hard to say at the moment because we really don't know a lot about what Pi can do. I mean, we don't even know that it's going to have NFTs and all that, but the assumption is all that is going to be on there. I keep on looking back into the Stellar blockchain just because we're a fork of Stellar, so you can kind of get a feel of what they're doing is what we can do. One of the things Stellar had from the very start was an inbuilt decentralized exchange. So there's an assumption that Pi Network might have that as well if it's a clone copy of the network. But I mean, it's blockchain. So immediately, we're going to have wallets and finance and coins. Are we going to be having? I mean, Nicholas has talked about, are we about, whether we're going to be creating tokens and stuff like that under the ecosystem. So I don't know whether we're going to be able to do that, like create our own coins or anything like that. It's kind of a watch and see at the moment with Pi Network. We've got to wait for announcements.
Okay, before I engage on that and go for that, I want to allow God's favor requesting. God's favor. I don't know why I feel like you have something to say. So, God's favor, yeah, you can now unmute your mic and speak. Yeah, God's favor.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was not aware that I have been unmuted. Okay, good day, everyone.
Okay.
I just have to ask, because recently I have been coming across the Space Pie, who seems to be on the space here with us as well. I don't know if this is actually related to the Pi network. That's my question.
Sorry, come again.
I mean, the Space Pie. You must have come across a Space Pie. I don't know if it's related to the Pi network. I would really like to get more light about it.
So you'd have to Twitter them or something, because you'd have to Twitter them to find out about their stuff. But they're not built on Pi network. I think they're not built on Pi network blockchain. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So let me go back to IQ then. Sorry. Okay. Let me unmute Pi network project. Pi network project.
Hello.
Hold on, John. Pi network project. Pi network project. You can now unmute your mic and speak. Yeah, go on. Okay, I don't think we'll have something to say. Okay, yeah, so IQ, back to you on how Pi is built into all of this. And so I remember Eugene was talking, Eugene helped us establish something about, platform. So the platform is the gateway to Web3. And for an example, he mentioned Trust Wallet. And why? Because, you have your wallet. You have your wallet and you can connect to different decentralized applications that are built on Web3. So that is the platform, and I would guess that the platform we have for that is the Pi browser, right? So the Pi browser is Web3.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
And
So
the brainstorm can also be Web3.
Yeah, I mean, like in the Pi browser, you'll see at the top corner there. I mean, we've got our own Pi wallets and stuff like that. And currently, we access those through using our passphrase or our fingerprint. But if you see in the Pi wallet up in the top corner, we have the Pi icon, which gets us to our home button. Now, I assume that'll transform into something like MetaMask, So you'll just have you have your passphrase will open that obviously, but you'll be using your password or something, something a lot easier to access that, or even your fingerprint. I guess that's what we've got already. But the Pi wallet is going to be your main access point.
Yeah, so we'll be connecting, just like we established earlier in Web3, we are not connecting with emails, Facebook accounts and all of that. We are connecting with wallets.
Correct, yeah. I mean, that's why there's such a huge push on the KYC, being one individual for each wallet address, because when we get more into the ecosystem, they want to make sure that, we are who we say we are and all that.
Okay. And so how is Pi then revolutionizing Web3 if Web3 is, we've established what the Web3 is, but how is Pi Network changing Web3 as we know of it? So, like, for example, crypto was there, since Bitcoin, and yeah, it has been going a certain way, and we are all aware of how Pi Network has come in and it is revolutionizing crypto. Yeah, crypto on its own is a revolution, but Pi Network is like Veda Sith. It's said in
Pi is decentralized, and Pi has given us that opportunity. So I feel like Pi is Web3 itself too, through the Pi browser and everything. Yeah, that's just it.
Great. So one moderator said, before the hype of Web3, so Pi has been built for Web3 based on the ideas that we are seeing coming to life gradually over time. It's reflecting that this has been in ideation for a longer time than before the hype started. The buzzword, the marketing buzzword, as Musk would say, started. But I want to ask something. So some remarks that some venture capitalists and some other experts or so. Sorry, I lost Eugene here. Eugene, please send a request to speak when you get back. You're not on the speakers list anymore. So some have called Web3 like the creator's economy. Some have said it is the reinvention of capitalism, or it's the users and builders economy. So what do all of these mean? Okay, what does this mean when you say it's a creator's economy? What's the economic, angle to it here?
If you ask me, I feel like we should go back to Web 2 and ask ourselves what Web 2 was. Web 2 wasn't, it wasn't us that was in control of Web 2. We were just in Web 2 doing whatever whoever was in control of it wanted. We only had a little impact on Web 2. But now Web 3 has shut that down. It has totally closed that down. So the economic impact is that it's not owned by anybody. It's still we, the human, it's still us that is still in control of it. So whatever we choose for it to be is what it will actually be.
Yeah, I want the audience to try and understand this in a practical sense.
Okay.
Yeah, in a practical sense. Like, yeah, it was a good thing you said. Let us drop back to Web 2, maybe to understand how how Web 3 is a creator's economy. So, what's the economy like in Web 2? How does the economy function in Web 2? So, maybe we can start from there. IQ? And see how the economy will be like in Web 2. Let's understand how it's a creator's economy.
Well, I guess I go back to, the old sharing of data, and John's got a good point there too. You know, we're removing third parties. You know, we're always asking for permission to do things. You know, I mean, you only have to put cash into a bank account, and you know, it won't even matter how much, but they'll ask you where it came from. You know, now the banks are just supposed to be providing security for our money, right? But they're interfering. You know, and anytime you want to send money overseas, you know that takes days and all that, and all they're doing is delaying it so they can make money on your capital on the overnight money markets. So that removal of third-party interaction is a huge thing. When I go back to the data sharing and all that, you talk about creator economy. You know, when you're creating your things, you know, like just say like artwork, you're creating artwork. You know, you kind of have to go through galleries and stuff like this. You know, another third party that will take a portion of your profits, but they're not just taking 10% or whatever. They take 50-60% of your things. So
what 60% majority?
Yeah, absolutely they will. Yeah, because they without them, you can't get in front of the customers. You know, now we've got a lot of things now, you know, with like, you know, say eBay, Etsy, you know, all this sort of thing where we can kind of get in front of customers. But unless you're being promoted on the front pages, because we've seen a lot of all those things where the big corporations come in and they just overwhelm the front pages of all their stuff. So as a small creator, you know, you can't really get anywhere. But under the new economies, you know.
Okay. So let's just use this opportunity to get the community also to interact with you and ask two questions. I know that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So that's some request here. Venkatesh, you can now speak. Anyone else also who's on the speaker list can just unmute and interact, get your questions. Just to okay. Oxchima, ETH, Rudy, unmuted. So I'm just unmuting a bunch of people to just go fast. And Shashi. So you're all unmuted. First to speak goes on. Let's go. Let's go. Okay.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Feel free to unmute or send a question, or even if you just want to have a conversation about anything that's going on with me, Pyro Evolution, and others as well too.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just keep this in. I said this at the beginning, but let me just say this for the first time. I didn't mention this to you earlier, Justin, but I think this is the first time I'm mentioning it. So we started doing these spaces with Pi and the Metaverse, and then we entered Pi NFT, and then we did Pi KYC, and now we're doing Pi Web3. So you can trace a pattern here. We're dealing with next generation internet subjects, prospects, and trying to get everyone to understand them and see how they can position and see what's up with them and all of that. But where did the inspiration come from? I'm just going to share where the inspiration came from now. On this Spaces screen for everyone to see, it was actually from you. I don't know if you can see this comment now on the screen on the dashboard. Pi NFT, Pi DeFi, Pi DAOs. That's what it's called, right? So I remember when I saw this comment some months back, and as a newbie, I was like, man, I'm so behind. I need to learn about all of these things. I need to know what NFTs, what DeFi, what DAOs, and the other key terms are. And then I was like, okay, why learn alone? Why not call people who can educate me on this and get everyone along and let the whole community, people who need to learn about this, learn about it. And that's how we started with the Metaverse and IQ Spoke and NFTs. So we still have two topics, which is DeFi and DAOs. That's what it's called, right? DAOs.
Yeah, DAOs.
Okay, yeah. So we still have DeFi and DAOs coming up as the next two topics. I don't know which one will be first. We have not decided, but
Yeah. I could talk about. I'll start with DeFi first. So DeFi is decentralized finance, and clearly,
but
like,
sorry, but that would not be now in this space. We are going to organize another DeFi space. So
yeah. Okay.
separate space
Yeah,
for
we'll
DeFi
talk
and
more about
separate for
that.
DAO.
Yeah, PyDeFi
Yeah.
is still not here yet, and we'll talk more about that in the future as well too.
Yeah, great. Okay, so everyone, you can Learn Pi. Yeah, I'm sure Learn Pi will definitely speak. PyCoin, you guys speak. I'm unmuting you guys now, and any person who I unmute who's not speaking, I may just have to remove you from the speaker list so other people can get a slot to speak. Yeah.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm from Pakistan. I'm just asking to you that I am following Pi application from around about 2 or 3 years ago, but still there is no value and nothing is update. Can you brief about it?
You're talking about like what? There's no Pi token, no Pi value. Is you want me to comment on that part, or I guess just for clarity on your question?
Yeah, he was talking about value.
Yeah, obviously, and that's why like everybody wants Pi to go mainnet, because they want Pi to have transactional value, dollar value, or real use case. I think that everybody wants that, and again, like the team is not in a rush to do that, just only because they're still working on the development of the platform, but also too, I'd imagine from what the internal projects were, like they were figuring out both the KYC and mass KYC process before going that, because like that, if that wasn't solved or still isn't solved, then it's like you can't open up the network or get it fully decentralized, at least in the way that they want to go about it, the PyCore team. And so they were trying to solve those problems first before launching the token out, because if they didn't solve that, assuming that if they want to follow the rule that they have to KYC everybody, then some people will get the token, some people don't. And also too, from the back end side, there was a lot of fraud. Like a lot of people are creating multiple accounts. They were referring themselves, or they're just doing a lot of stuff. So they wanted to. The goal was to try to go clear out and validate it. Like you saw the. People with like 30 phones, 50 phones, 100 phones, like it was, a normal thing. And there's some people out there that are showing the screenshots of how much Pi they have, and it's an insane amount.
I personally saw someone with one phone but 30 accounts, with a clone.
Yeah, we all know that happens, and again, there's some people out there like showing off their screenshots, and they, whether it's real or fake or not, who knows? But like they have like crazy amounts of Pi, and which is fine. But if they got legitimately, if they didn't, they wanted to clear that out. But again, like I agree that they're currently not mainnet at the moment. They do want to get to mainnet. I do think that it needs to get to mainnet before there's actual DApp or DApp value to be created. There are other chains, other blockchains I've seen, like they have a live mainnet, but it's a test net. Like Polkadot has Kusama. Kusama is like their test net, but it's a live token, and it has value also. But Pi is one.
Don't interrupt. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, so in terms of like Pi value, I guess we'll have to wait till mainnet launches. The block of mainnet launching is, one, the team and development is not ready yet, and two, I'd imagine it's like they're still solving, or they were trying to solve the KYC process, but then also too, there was like the mining lockup period as well too, reduction of mining as well. I think that the the thing that needed to be solved was
YKC.
reducing inflation. I don't know the legal, so I'm not like part of the legal team. Obviously, the KYC side is very different than a lot of other chains in terms of the process of launching a new token. I would imagine that it's because they want to comply with regulation across each jurisdiction. Obviously, it's controversial because if the company is based in the U.S., then I just learned too that the team couldn't work with people in Iran or other places, and I don't have nothing to do with legal, and I'm not part of the PyCore team now, but it is the team is currently based in the U.S., and so that causes the U.S. enforces the rules and then pushes it down to the other countries, and if it doesn't, then they're going to shut down. The U.S. can actually go to like the other government and try to work with them to shut it down or whatnot, or just, like if you look at like Singapore, for example, even though Singapore is like independent, but they able to, if they were to have done it in a different way, would have not been in the U.S. and fully launched it as a like they would have to launch Pi as a DAO from the get-go, but that would have been very hard for them. So I didn't make the KYC rules. Obviously, it is.
Any hope?
It's
Any hope for those 4 countries we call out? Any hope in the future?
Yeah, and that's always been the challenge, right? Because like identity, citizenship, and KYC is it's very different for each country, and there's no standard across that, and it's still. That in itself is a massive blockchain. There's been many products like Civic and others that are trying to solve that issue, right? They're trying to solve the KYC issue of identity for that, but there hasn't been like a proper way to do that. And I'd hope that again, like there's 2 reasons again that KYC is happening. One, again, it's through regulations. I'm sure. That's what the legal said, and then second way is because of the mining fraud. People that are just mining too much. The mining farms for that.
So we did a KYC space. I think our last space, apart from the Pi Day space, was about KYC, and it was solely based on that statement that. The core team said in the app that if the Pi KYC solution successfully verifies the identity of millions of pioneers, then it would be a revolutionary solution that Pi Network is providing to the world. It felt like it's such a big and ambitious claim. Like, what will the impact of that be in the space?
It depends. Obviously, again, there are many people that never want a KYC just because they want to be anonymous.
Okay.
And obviously decentralization people want to be anonymous. Whereas on the other hand, though, in terms of the revolutionary side, though, like having an actual verified network is that is another challenge for a lot of the blockchains. Is like there's a lot of fake wallets, fake traffic, fake transactions. You go to like some other chains, there's a lot of fake stuff, and it doesn't really represent what's going on in that chain as well. So there's different layers or different angles to it. I don't have the right answers for it per se. It's just whether you're okay with it or not. That's a personal preference. But in terms of the impact, though, is if they do have a verified network of the size of potentially 30 million, it would be the largest. Then it would be regulated. It would be compliant regulatory as much as possible, and then also too, you could do a little bit more interesting financial transactions in the future for like DeFi and others as well too. But it depends on how you're looking at it as well too. I'm sure you guys, when you guys did your Twitter space about KYC, there's
About the KYC.
a lot of opinions on every angle.
Yeah.
About the,
Yeah.
about,
But again, go ahead. Sorry.
about KYC, I kind of experienced something that I felt I should bring to the platform. Is it global or is it concentrated in some regions of the world only? Because I'm in Nigeria and there is no KYC going on right now around my area.
Yeah, I think it's regional. I haven't kept up with the most recent, because I've been focusing on my own thing, but I haven't seen the most recent KYC global project.
Actually, KYC is happening in Nigeria. I mean, two of my earning teams, they have gotten KYC. In fact, one just called me yesterday the moment he got KYC.
Oh, really?
And he could not. Yeah, so KYC is going on in Nigeria. There are lots of KYC. I've heard of KYC in Nigeria so much.
Okay.
Yeah, please kindly mute your microphone. Your background noise is affecting.
Oh,
Yeah, KYC is live in Nigeria.
okay. There's a lot of
So
wind around me here.
yeah.
No worries.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's still being rolled out. I have to get up to date with like how I from what I remember from working with the PyCore team, they definitely target per region as well. Test it out small and then make sure that it's working the way it is. If not, they have to go back, fix or reiterate instead of like opening the floodgates. So they always like to do small test batches across different segments as well. Very, very methodical. But, again, it's like, as you said, there's definitely people starting to get it, but it's still not like the full access yet.
Okay, let's get more people to interact. You're on mute. I unmuted everyone, so there's a chance. Go at it. Ask a question.
Hello.
Yeah,
what
Peter?
I want to say is that most of the time I've been seeing different images of phones, cars, and other accessories. Some do write 1 pi, some do write 0.1 pi, some like 10 pi. All those things, I don't know. Is there a way that it can be regulated? Is there a way that we can have something real? Or if those things are not real, then they should stop putting it on air. I've seen a lot of. I've seen iPhone 12, iPhone 13. You say 1 pi, some say 5 pi. You see a very big car. You say 10 pi, 50 pi. So what's happening? Where is it coming from? Thank you.
So you're saying that they're just seeing people like listing different items for different pi amounts? Yeah. Yeah, like people. It's always as with any crypto. Everybody's always trying to do price discovery, especially if it's not openly traded. It is very hard or impossible to value pi at the current state, just because like if you really wanted to find the value and everything, we have to first kind of like identify or find out even like what's the trading market cap and how much actually tokens are circulating and transferable or tradable. And we don't know that currently, just from tokenomics standpoint. And so if let's say theoretically, again, I know, theoretically if pi was like worth $100, I don't think it is, but then what happens though is like if there's not very many people actually trading pi at the moment because it can't transfer, buy, sell, or trade, then the price will change because the next person that sells pi will want to sell it immediately and then crash the price, and then the price goes down. So the price discovery is not there yet because we don't know the how much tokens are in supply, how much volume it is. There's just not real enough data until the tokens make net, and then also too until the token actually hits an exchange. So Yeah, I actually don't know. I would hope so, but when I left the PyCore team, I definitely, well, for me, I didn't really work on the KYC product as well. I know that the developers were solving it, but I don't know I don't know the rollout plan for the KYC global or countrywide. I would hope it'd be soon, but I I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. If whether they're looking at the data and making sure that people are getting actual validated or not. I'm trying to also learn, but I don't talk to. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Wu. Mr. Wu.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have a question. It's concerning what you said earlier. I want to get more clarification about accounts cloned and people with multiple accounts. So I want to know if those accounts, when you know um, destroy destroyed, what will happen to those coins mined from those
Okay.
Yeah.
accounts? I
Yeah,
want to know what's going to happen.
yeah, that's a good question. So when I when they're looking at like fraud or the accounts that are botted or even doing bot referrals, they have to go through all the transactions and all the accounts they kind of interact with. I don't know what the decision was, but I did think that from the time that I was looking at it, they would have to like negate or prevent all the tokens that were being created from that account from actually being passed, and even the referrals or referral bonuses from that. I'm not sure if that will affect the other accounts too, like the referral account. I think that they would minus or subtract that as well too, because they would flag that account not being passable, if that makes sense. So because right now we're not, it's on a closed mainnet, it is still be able to, they can verify or allow the tokens to be unlocked or not. They can lock it or unlock it. So the people that have the fraud accounts, those tokens will just not be in circulating supply, and I think that they would not be. They just don't exist on mainnet.
All right. Thank you.
So you can imagine it from like, because everything's verified that they can pass through and they're good. If they're not, then they're just not actually in circulation and they won't count, which is better for everybody in the network, right? Because you don't want to have that's like the goal, is just to not have fraud accounts and fraud tokens in the circulating supply. That would cause even more inflation. It's actually better that there's less accounts and less token supplies in circulation. That means then there's less pie, which is better for everybody in terms of future value. I'm not going to speculate on current value because there's no current value. So the more people KYC, the better the network, but also too the many accounts that don't make it will make there be less pie in circulation, which is like, those are not free floating pie. So until that data comes out, that's like the important data to take a look at. If you're just studying tokenomics is super important. But at the same time, though, you look at something like Ripple. Ripple has insane tokenomics where there's just crazy amount of supply, but they're still able to create value still. So there's a still good mix. It doesn't always tell the full story, especially if there's like 30 million plus people and more within the network for that. But I'd imagine once it hits the exchange, if and when the Pi token gets exchanged, it's going to have price discovery. People are going to still figure out the price of it, and it might be volatile still until it's fully exchanged and launched.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Justin, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. The data that will be gotten from the by KYC, is it going to be stored on the blockchain, or is it going to be stored on physical normal Web2 servers, or is it going to be stored on the blockchain?
Yeah, I actually don't know the answer. I've never dealt with the KYC side, so anything that went through the who was it, the KYC partner, when it gets through the third party was handling the encryption for that. I don't know what the current, I haven't looked through like how the regional KYC or like the current mass KYC is happening and went through that whole process yet. So I don't really know for that what the answer is, whether it's stored on chain, not stored, and it's just encrypted temporarily or not, or stored on a Web2 server. That is a good question. I honestly do not know the answer, unfortunately.
All right, then we can say Pi is not 100% decentralized.
Yeah, the reality is it's not decentralized. Pi is still not fully decentralized yet, so that's just a fact. I know that the team will, and this is it depends. Some projects out there are very centralized to bootstrap it, and then they gradually decentralize. There's projects like Shapeshift. They started very centralized, and then they went to a full DAO or DAO structure and decentralized it. Something like Luna, I'm a big Luna fan. Luna token, Terra Luna. That's fully centralized, and then it's going to be eventually decentralized as well. So some people see it as necessary to be able to steer or steer the company in a certain direction, but the goal is to be decentralized as much as possible. But I don't know the full plans for that yet for the Pi Core team.
Hello. All right. Thanks.
Hey, how's it going?
New people, there are lots of requests, so.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I just have a question. So, at the current stage of Pi, how many percentage is Pi going to be successful in the near future? At the current stage and the current situation of Pi, do you think it's 50%, 25%, 33.3%, or 100%?
What do you mean by percent of the population of pioneers?
No, I mean the whole project itself.
Like,
got it.
Yeah.
How, based on percentage, how many percent? What are the chances of success of Pi?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you can calculate on percentages. I think it's as the Pi team always rolls out, it's always an iteration. So even if something like fails, they always figure out solutions. It's a team that constantly is continue to build. If you look at some other blockchains, even like Polygon or Solana when they launched, and still to this day, their blockchain froze, like literally froze. Like the chains had to freeze, and they had issues. They had to reset it. It's Solana was kind of centralized in that way because they have all the validators and nodes centralizing it as well, right? And so there's always hiccups from it. Did the project die? No. Cardano just launched smart contracts, and it's still very slow. Did it die? Not necessarily. They're going to need to continue to improve. Same with Ethereum. Ethereum 1.0 right now, the gas was really high, and then transactions are super slow, and it needs to get to 2.0, right? So I don't think that I don't think it's like a zero, like pass or fail situation. I think that it's going to be a constant iteration. If there are if there are like troubles or obstacles, then they will be there. But I don't think that would cause the project to like instantly die or fade away. So I don't see it like a pass or fail type of situation. I do say that like it is it is a very very big problem that they're trying to solve with mass KYC globally. Nobody has again solved that issue, especially if you go to there's different countries that don't have a standard ID or passport or other means of the standard KYC procedure, so that there'd have to be like a new way to do that. And I'd hopefully the PyCore team can fully solve that for everybody globally, and then be able to get them onboarded into the network. Otherwise, I'd imagine that they would have to do it like as a gradual basis of getting people into the network and verified. So I don't foresee it, like being like percentage wise. That's just keeping it honest. I think that there it is a big problem to solve, and the team, from what I know, is just like they're especially now there's like 30 developers. I would say majority of the team is all developers on board. Like that's why you don't really see a lot of communication, which I think that needs to be improved. Obviously they need to build more community and marketing and comms, but they're just heads down like developing right now because there's a lot of stuff to fix and solve.
Thank you for that. Can I ask another question?
Yep.
So, do you think a Pi NFT will be successful, or is it possible to make a Pi NFT?
At the current state, no. Polygon, right? In the future, yes. At the current state, no. I mean, so the best one to take a look at is obviously Pi it's not necessarily like a full copycat of Stellar, but it's based off the Stellar code base and then modified even further. And so like Stellar, so I always look at like the developments of the core code on Stellar side. Stellar is going to get into NFTs and DeFi as well too. It's still not here yet. And that gives me more promise and hope, because then they can kind of borrow that code and integrate it into the Pi network and Pi chain. Because currently, like Stellar doesn't have smart contracts very effectively or at all, and then that doesn't really allow for DeFi and NFTs because you don't have the smart contracts. But once they can able to implement that on Stellar, then the Pi network and PyCore team can also take that, but also add on more to it as well too. So that gives me kind of promise. As you can see, like my profile picture right now is an NFT, so I've been